Well, it's been a little while since I last filmed, and I know the lighting in here isn't brilliant because it looks like I've got no eyes with the shadowing. But welcome. And today's topic is about me, why I'm gaining weight in the menopause, even though I'm eating the same basically, and possibly even eating less. Thank you for being here. Hi, I'm Rhiannon, and welcome to Freedom Over 40, where I basically like to talk about menopause quite honestly and openly with you all, and without judgment, along with mental health and all those wonderful things that seem to happen at the same time or are symptoms of. So please stick around and let's talk about weight gain during menopause. So today we're diving into one of the most searched questions women ask about menopause, and that's weight gain. And why basically it's happening, even when you swear you haven't changed your diet. And if anything, you're probably more active than you've ever been, because quite a large percentage of women going through menopause have a family and a busy lifestyle and maybe even grandchildren now. So, can't put your finger on why you've been basically gained all this weight. And it's quite demoralizing, isn't it? Because you're used to being able to fit into those clothes and they no longer fit. You can't get into those jeans anymore. You can't get the zip up, the button won't do up, or if it does, the button then pops off or you bust the zip on your jeans or something. So I completely get it. It's demoralizing and you really don't feel yourself. You don't feel I don't know, it's hard to explain. You just don't recognize who you are anymore. And you really do feel like, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I looking like this? Why do I weigh this much? Where's it coming from? So, excuse me. So, let's talk about it basically. And I got my notes as always here, which is why I keep looking down so I don't forget. So, with the effects of menopause, it is obviously down to your hormones, why we gain weight. And one of the reasons is that the estrogen level drops in your system. And when your estrogen level drops, it influences your metabolism. So that's why your metabolism isn't firing up as it would normally to help you burn, when you're on the go and when you're exercising. And, when you used to do your regular thing, it doesn't seem to work anymore. And that's why you're getting that middle spread and your hips and the fat is basically seems to be in the belly area and stuff. So with that, to say the mentioning of the fat distribution, it changes around those areas, and that's why you feel so bloated and you just can't get your clothes, or your clothes don't fit or look right on you anymore. And you actually think, well, I'm eating the same, but yet am I eating too much? And it's quite worrying actually, because some people go to the extreme, unfortunately. And it's quite sad because I know why women do this, some women, because they think, oh, calorie deficit, which, yeah, technically you do need to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight. However, you've still got to have enough nutrients in your body to function. And if you eat too little, it's not going to be enough, and it's going to have the adverse effect. So when we also look at the way our diets are, we also have a decline in our muscle mass, because we're not able to absorb or have those nutrients and having those hormones in our body to function like they used to. So we lack a lot of things there, and that's why we end up having brittle bones. And you can look at the side things of arthritis kicking in, and that's why we ache a lot, and we feel like we have swelling in our joints and fingers and things, and our ankles and feet. And I know it's very attractive. I know you're thinking that. But we do have insulin sensitivity, and it's through the sensitivity and changes, again, why we then start to have that middle section spread and why we start to fill out more. And also, if you're having quite a busy life, you might even have quite a high busy job, which can be quite stressful. And then, with that, then it can affect your sleep. And then your sleep is, such an important thing that we all need to do. And in an ideal world, yes, 7 to 8 hours a night's sleep would be fantastic. But as we all know, ladies, that if you're going through the change, your sleep is always interrupted. I don't know one lady or person that has been going through the change and hasn't had a decent sleep, or has a decent night's sleep continuously. I think I can honestly say every year since I was 40, definitely, I probably would say there's been no more than 2 to 3 times in that year since I was 40, every year consistently, that I've actually slept right through the night. I just can't. It's impossible. I reduce my I reduce my caffeine in a late afternoon, early evening. I don't drink as much caffeine as I used to, and I love drinking tea. That's the main caffeine drink that I do have daily. I do have the odd coffee now and again, but that's more as a social thing if I'm out and about meeting friends for a coffee. But I tend to have more water and squash, which is basically a cordial drink watered down with water in it, which is a flavored drink. The cordial is flavored. So sometimes I'll drink some of that or I'll sip it. I can't gulp drinks down anyway. So I'm also mindful that I don't want to overdo it with drinking fluids because of your bladder sensitivity, which is also another problem when we have menopause. Because what we find is when we go through this stage, we can't hold or retain urine in our bladder for as long, or it feels uncomfortable where you need to go and pee. So I do end up getting up through the night various amounts of times. Sometimes it's once, twice, sometimes it's 3 or 4. It depends. And it also depends on how my hormones are fluctuating throughout the month. I don't have periods anymore. I haven't had a period in such a long time. But I do have fluctuations with urination, and I've seen an increase in work as well. I do try to drink. I don't actually drink as much as I think I should, if I'm honest. Less than 3 liters a day. But because of what I'm doing and the nature of my job, I'm so busy doing various things physically on the go at times. Or I could be on a very long phone call, or I could be on a Teams meeting, or it varies. And sometimes I'm going to a different location, so I'm having to drive 3 times as long, excuse me, or as far as I need to be. Oh, pardon me. And and that's the other thing too. Acid reflux, heartburn. Do you seem to get that more so now as you get older? I certainly do. Digestive issues, bloating. The list is endless. There are so many things that go on that affect your tummy area, and again, this all links to how you feel and how you look, and when you see yourself in the mirror, and also if you feel as attractive or as energetic or outgoing, because I feel now, I don't know, I've just completely changed my outlook. I mean, I am a social person if I want to be, but in general speaking, when I've finished my work from my 9 to 5 job, I just want to go home. I don't want to be out. I don't want to be hanging around longer than I have to be. If I can leave my job on the time that I'm supposed to finish, I am out the door. I really don't like to stay behind any longer than I need to. I tend to go in earlier if I need to do work and things to try and get a head start for the day. But it's only if I need to stay on to complete something that's urgent, because sometimes there's things that happen, cases that come in, and sometimes it is a case of, it will be better for me to finish it that day and stay on an extra 20 minutes, half hour maybe, or whatever, to complete something, like get a case file ready or whatever it is, than to come into the following day, because I know, one, it'll be on my mind, and two, I know it's needed for something that's going to happen, for a specific meeting or whatever the situation is. Obviously, I can't speak too much because of confidentiality, but yeah, so that's the only time I will actually stay on in work. Other than that, I'm straight in my car and I'm on my way home. I'm done. I think because I'm so tired, because I'm not sleeping like I used to, I really flag now. My energy levels are really dipping, and you just feel sluggish. And why is it when your alarm goes off in the morning that you feel like you could just roll over now and go to sleep? It's always the way. Is it me? I don't know. So moving on from what I was just mentioning about your body and the changes there. Um, what I will say also is, like, there are strategies out there, and they say about like increasing your protein or having a balanced protein diet, and they mention vegetables and things. Now, I am creating a separate channel to do with diet and things like that, because I think there's a way around this, which I'm trying myself on like a guinea pig. I'm going to see if it works for me. And you can watch me on my journey with that, because I want to keep it a little bit more separate to this channel, really. But I don't really necessarily agree that vegetables are going to help. I've really tried to be as healthy as I've possibly been throughout my eating, to the point where there was one time in my life where I was actually a vegetarian for 7 years. And then COVID happened, and then I ended up starting eating meat again because I couldn't actually buy anything vegetarian because there was nothing on the shelf because people were bulk buying food and all sorts. So it was difficult, and I ended up having to go back and eat meat. Otherwise, there was literally nothing there for me to buy to have food. So that's what got me back into eating meat. And to be honest with you, I haven't seen much of a difference in my body other than I'm now in menopause. And yeah, I might have gained a bit of weight, but that to me is the menopausal side of things. I was still overweight when I was vegetarian. So what I'm trying to say is I don't really think just consuming vegetables and things are really going to be the ideal solution for me. Maybe it is for you, and if you feel like you're able to fill up more vegetables and stuff, then fine, you do you. But for me personally, I still always had bloatedness. I still always had issues in my stomach, and I do have PCOS, which is basically polycystic ovary syndrome. I do have a massive cyst on my ovary, which can be extremely painful because the pain not only happens in the lower belly area, but it's right across my hip and around my back. So the pain can be really intense at times, and it'll just flare up as and when it wants to. There's no rhyme or reason, as far as I'm aware. It could just be quite intense, the pain. Um, Strength training. So I really believe in strength training, and I think as you get older, I think it's something we should focus on more, in a proper supervised professional place if possible, at least to get your knowledge about how to handle weights and what type of weights and how to do things properly with your form and the reps and things and the sets that you do, by going to a gym or maybe just going to a personal trainer or having just one session with someone just to give you an idea and to get them to write up a plan for you maybe, because as you get older, like I say, your bones are more brittle and you are more prone to having fractures and breaks and things. So it's for that alone that I think is important. That said, as well, when you're weight training, not to be necessarily a bodybuilder type person, but just to help tone, when you use weight, it helps to burn fat. And that's why I think that may be a good idea, which I'm actually going to look into myself. If I could include sleep and have a better night's sleep, that would be such literally a dream come true, because um as I say, it's so hard to function when you don't really have proper sleep, and you need to be able to go into that deep sleep where you have your REM, which is reticular eye movement, and it's where you really do relax fully and you have an actual proper deep sounding sleep where you are still and your breathing is shallow and you actually fully relaxing yourself for an hour or two or however long that should last. But I don't really seem to get that as such. I might go off to sleep, but then within an hour or two I'm wide awake, and it's because I need to go to the loo, or I've just woken up with a flush and I'm sweating and I'm getting too hot and uncomfortable. I've always been someone that gets quite warm easily in bed. I don't like getting too hot. Even when I was a toddler, my nana used to tell me that when I used to stay over with her on a weekend or something, she'd always be forever in the night trying to put the bedclothes back on me. But because I was just hot naturally in my sleep, I kept kicking them off, and she thought, no, I'd get cold, so she would put them back on me again, and I'd be kicking them off again in my sleep. So, she didn't get much sleep, bless her, if ever I stayed over. But that's because she was just worrying, which is quite sweet, really, when you think about it. If you can manage your stress levels, that is certainly something that would be an advantage. Easier said than done, because sometimes things happen when you least expect it or that are out of your control. And, depending on what you do, where I work currently, I'm in quite a stressful environment. So dealing with quite emotional and quite stressy situations. I can't say too much, but yeah, you just never know what day you're going to get. So it's really difficult on that side of things. My home life is really where I do try to double down on being in a calm environment, a safe and as stress-free as possible. Although that said, when we had that storm recently with the bad weather, we ended up having rainwater coming through the dining room window. So that was fun at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when we had this water coming in, and it was like, where is that coming from? Like, what's going on? And then £3,000 later, we're now ordering windows and doors. So yeah, it's fun and games. Things happen, and it's just the way life is, isn't it? You can't always plan for it, but if you can at least make your environment a little more calm and safe and secure for you, and whatever it is for you that makes you unwind, basically, that de-stresses you, please try to do that. One thing I've started doing since the beginning of the year is decluttering again. I've also been going through my clothing, and I've donated already 2 bags of big bags of clothes to charity, and shoes and things. Um, Even like accessories like bags and blankets and all that sort of thing, they've all gone to charity, because I'm trying to declutter my environment so that it helps me declutter my mind as well, so I feel more at peace. um, we've also put a bookshelf up in the office area, so I'm starting to go through my books and start to put them tidy away on the bookshelf. I'm trying to declutter every area that I'm in. So from my workspace at home to kitchen to you name it. Like the kitchen this weekend, my other half and I have been busy. This is why I'm doing this video so late in the evening, because we've been busy working on the kitchen. Now, it would be almost 2 years in June that we actually ripped out the old kitchen and had the new one fitted, but we also needed ourselves to do the tiling and flooring and painting, and we had some new wiring done and some sockets put in. And yeah, so we've got bits of building materials literally in every room. And I was fed up of walking into a half-done kitchen where the units were fitted in and they were functioning, like the oven and dishwasher, but the rest of the kitchen was still exactly the same. And I was like, oh, right, I got to get this done, because it's just there in my mind now. It's been going on for too long. And I got big buckets of plaster, and I got tiles, and I got all sorts lying around, and it's just driving me nuts. It's just extra stuff in the house that once we've done the job, they can be gone. We don't need them anymore, or we've used them. So I made a conscious effort this weekend with my other half, because he was actually home, which was lovely. He's not busy doing his sports and things with his bowls. And we literally got round to doing some more plastering and flooring and that sort of thing. So we've done another big chunk of the kitchen again. Another section has been done. So I'm feeling better because I can see the progress. And I think mentally that helps as well, when you can physically see things. I am a visual person. I am quite hands-on. I was laying the floor this weekend. I was putting the tiles down. So pretty much it's about 90% done now, the floor. So we've also been like plastering or filling in holes in the walls where we've ripped out the old tiles off the walls and the old kitchen units, and it's left big hole gaps hole gaps in the holes in the wall. I can't speak. Tiredness. So it's things like that, for example, that I'm trying to help make my environment better, so that I can appreciate it as well. Like, the money that's gone into what we've spent so far and still paying for, I want to be able to now see it and enjoy the actual aesthetics of it better than just seeing a half done room. The same for the bathroom. The bathroom is also another situation where we're about 80% done there, and the same timing that we ripped out half of that bathroom and put new shower in, and Respatex wall, half of it was done, and so on. So it's like, right, okay, we're now talking about the final stages now. What we're going to do? Are we going to put a theme up on one side of the wall with colors, or like a picture or a wallpaper, or what are we doing? So we're now planning that now. So we're coming up with ideas that we could utilize to basically finish it. And yeah, we're almost there. So we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. But I just want to ultimately set goals now for me that are quite achievable, shall we say, with my other half, because I think it gives you a focus, and as much as I'm very tired and I'm respecting myself and my body, and I am resting as much as I can when I'm home, I'm also having to try and motivate myself also, but without overdoing it, and respecting how I'm feeling, and whether or not I have the energy, and if I feel well enough to do physical stuff around the house, like decorating and things, because it can take it out of you. And when you're using muscles and your joints more, or in a certain way that you're not used to, boy, do you feel it, not just for the next day, but you can feel it for the next week or so. And I am feeling it, that's for sure, today, which is probably why I look so tired. But there we are, it's coming now. And yeah, I'm starting to feel a bit better because I can see a change. And it's nice when you see things looking tidier and more presentable. It just makes mentally, for me, it makes me feel a lot better. But anyway, I've been waffling on about the kitchen and bathroom. Not very exciting, but that's how life is, isn't it? When you get older, you're doing adulty things that, yeah, as a kid you never imagined you'd end up doing. Joy. um, yeah, one thing as well I should say about your diet, or being practical, is about hydration. I know I've already touched about this, about drinking less than 3 liters of fluid a day. So my goal is to definitely try and up my fluid intake in the day more than the evening. Um, but what I'm trying to do is like trying to sip on water, with like, try and sip little bits as and when I can in between conversations and phone calls and whatever it is that I'm attending to. Sorry, I got an itchy eye. But yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do as well, to try and um, hydrate myself more. And I think also it makes your skin look so much better. I've been very lucky with my skin. I do have sensitive skin, but I do find that if I'm more hydrated, I can feel it and I see it. And I think that's so true. You've got to keep yourself hydrated. So that's definitely one tip I'd give yourselves. Um, and just small, real habits. So, like being active more for me is definitely one thing. I really want to start doing more physically, but not overdoing it too quickly, because I know I'm going to suffer, as in I'm going to feel the pain. And it's not like the no pain, no gain scenario. For me, it is my actual joints. And I don't want to cause damage, or I've got injuries, old injuries from working in nursing and things. So my back is not the best. My joints aren't the best. Um, Things took a toll on me physically when I was in those environments with patients and things happening. So I know I can't do too much all of a sudden. I've got to really build it up slowly and sensibly, so that I can sustain and I can still function, and I'm not going to be in too much pain and discomfort. In work, I have a specialist chair. I also have a footstool. If I get stiff or I feel like I need to move, I will get up, I'll go and make a drink, I'll go to the bathroom, I'll just stretch basically. I'll try and move and loosen up a bit, because I know if I don't do that, I feel like my back is going to completely stiffen up and lock, and then I won't be able to move at all. So I really am mindful of my body and what I can do and what my limits are. And so when for example, this weekend, I did some work in the kitchen for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, which doesn't sound long, but when you're doing things and you're using your body weight to push and pull and maneuver and get into places and be on the floor quite low down, and believe me, you feel it. And as you're getting older and you're not as nimble as you used to be, it's a workout and a half. So I am proud of myself for achieving what I've done this weekend, because I also did more again today, for roughly about the same time frame. I also cooked dinner and I've put the washing on, and those things happen, don't they? They still need to be done as well. And I've got another channel that I do other things for, so I've just done some videoing for that as well. So I'm very busy. Things don't calm down, but like I say, if I feel overwhelmed or my mind is like, no, I just cannot face it, I'm respecting myself now, irrespective of what other people want and need. I have to put myself first. And you've got to be selfish to be kind. You really do, because if you don't look after yourself, you cannot function. You can't pour out of an empty cup at the end of the day. So if I'm not feeling full in myself, I cannot then give to others. So it's pointless me even trying, because all I'm going to do is damage myself more and make myself really ill. And I don't want to get there. You know, I want to still be able to function and get up and do what I need to do the following day. So if any of this resonates with you, and I know I've waffled a bit and gone off a bit of my agenda, but ultimately weight gain when it comes to menopause is a real thing. Most women gain weight. There's very few women that I know have gone through weight. My goodness, there's not many women that I know that have gone through menopause that haven't gained weight, or haven't struggled with pain and discomfort and bloating and so on. So if you have found a solution that's helped you lose weight, that's helped you keep it off even, or if there's like a supplement or an experience that you've gone through and you're now through the other end of it and you can share that, please do so, because this is what this channel is partly about. It's to do with your menopause, it's to do with perimenopause, it's to do with your mental health and all the wonderful things that come with it when it comes to all the side effects of that, and getting to know the new you and accepting the new you. And it's also, this channel, it is really about, as I say, freedom. And freedom can be all about different things to so many different people. But for me, freedom is about looking after myself. It's about not having other things stress me and get a hold of me and control me. It's about me controlling that. But it's also about the financial element of being free as well. It's about being financially free. It's about breaking away from the 9 to 5 grind, which is definitely the plan and is still on my agenda. And I'm still working towards it. That's never going to go away until I achieve it. And it's going to come, because there are things in the pipeline. But until another time, guys, until another video, I just wanted to touch base with you all and say hi. Happy Valentine's for the weekend. Did you have a lovely weekend as well? As you know, part of mine was DIYing, so that's as sexy as my weekend has gone with Valentine's. But nevertheless, I'm just grateful to be here, and every day I get to open my eyes, guys, I'm feeling blessed. So happy days. Until then, guys, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you all. Please let me know where you're watching from. Please give us a like and subscribe to this channel. Let's get this channel out there. And yeah, until next time, guys, I hope to catch up with you soon. Take care. Stay blessed.